The following episode of TOFOP is rated MA. It may contain Batman references, time travel references, sexual references, lost trains of thought, and mild coarse language. TOFOP advises that the program is not suitable for anyone under the age of 15, or anyone who enjoys succinct, coherent conversation that might actually have a point. Minors must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or priest. This is John Deek speaking.
Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson. Hello. I have Ramona on my lap as well today.
Yeah.
She started on my lap. Normally what happens is that they're having a bit of a run around in the backyard, getting out some energy, and we were hoping that might calm them down. But Winnie, as usual, has discovered a bottle and is now bringing it in. People can probably hear it. She always, as soon as we start the podcast, she's like, now she's ripping the label off the bottle.
Why don't you just get her soft toys that she can chew?
Mate. These dogs have
everything.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think? In this house, these dogs have everything that they want.
But
what they really want is a bottle, a plastic bottle. Bad for the environment, but they love it. Yeah, take a little bit of video. This is like an audio-visual medium now, TOFOP. Well, really, it's just Charlie's Instagram and this podcast, but I like it. Hello, Ramona. She's on my lap, so we can start. We can start with some momentum.
Yeah.
Did you see Tom Cruise drop his exclusive on Sunrise?
Well, I went to the screening, the Mummy screening. Are you talking about the Dark Universe?
Okay. Well, maybe we could start about the Dark Universe, and then you haven't heard about the bombshell, the world exclusive that Tom Cruise, prominent movie star and Scientologist, decided to drop on Australian TV, Channel 7's very own Sunrise.
With Sam Mack?
With Sam Mack, yes. He was between Sam Mack and he was being interviewed by Sam Mack and the Cash Cow. And
Sam was playing his guitar.
They got a bombshell. Yeah, Sam was doing a parody song that he'd composed about Tom Cruise, and the Cash Cow was just actually getting money from Tom. Tom actually funds the Cash Cow.
These crews were made for walking. Was that what the song was called?
Tom is just a really big supporter of the Cash Cow, and Channel 7 can't actually afford it. Tom Cruise has been the personal sponsor of the Cash Cow for about the last 3 years. It's why he's making so many movies again.
Yeah,
it's Cash Cow money.
Yeah, he's got to pay off all the debtors of the Cash Cow. The Cash Cow doesn't want to get its legs broken.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just the money that the Cash Cow owes people, obviously from Sunrise, but the Cash Cow also owes people. By the way, that's not. I've now put sound effects on the podcast, so if a joke doesn't work, crickets in the background. The Cash Cow obviously has a lot of gambling debts as well. Just not good with his money.
No.
I mean, look, he's giving it away on television. He's clearly going to be giving it away
I saw the
down
Cash
the track.
Cow selling one of his stomachs, one of his 4 stomachs.
Oh, mate, he's only got 3 left. Yeah, he's giving stomach operations right around town. Often wakes up in a bathtub full of ice, which is great because you can make iced coffee immediately, which is actually really nice. But yeah, no, he's got a lot of, he's down the casino all the time. Yeah, mad gambler. Loves blackjack, black or white. I mean, he's a black and white cow, so I guess that's his.
I think I've met a few Cash Cows in my time working for 7, at least a couple. And I asked them about what's the hardest thing about being a Cash Cow. And apparently the odor within that suit is overwhelming.
Do they not wash the Cash Cow suit? I guess it would shrink or whatever, right? What's it made of? It's not made of actual...
Cow,
right?
I don't think
leather.
So. No.
They haven't got a leather. I mean, that would stink.
That would be amazing.
Is that why it stinks so much? They literally just hollowed out an actual cow.
Well, I think what makes it smell is generally the person in the cow is so active because you're shaking your hands about and you're dancing about and you're being Cash Cowish.
Sweaty work giving away
Sweaty
cash.
work. Sweaty work.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the OH&S requirements there if you're a mascot, if you have to put on a suit? Surely... if you go buy a sandwich from a deli, they have to put on gloves as they handle your food.
Right.
So surely you should be handled some kind of latex suit you slip on before you get inside that sweaty Cash Cow.
Here's what I was thinking the other day when I was watching Batman Returns.
Right.
That's the second one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was watching Batman Returns the other night.
Why? Because you wanted to know if mistletoe was poisonous if you eat it?
Well, you know what the great thing is? Deadly.
Oh, deadly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A kiss can be deadly.
Oh, that's
if
right.
you mean it.
Anybody want a peanut?
To be honest, that was part of the reason I was watching.
Right, for that one
It was
line.
on, and I was like, I am going to enjoy when they go with that. And I got to see both the setup and the payoff of the mistletoe moments. But...
Well, because that's right. Because that's when they realise
That's when she realises.
Yeah, they're on
Not
the dance
fact
floor.
that they're two superhumans who look exactly the same as the people and they've been kissing and making out. No,
Yeah.
that hasn't occurred to them at any stage that their voices are exactly the same and they're clearly the exact people. But no. An obscure phrase uttered. That's what trips them off.
I was actually thinking about Batman Returns the other day, specifically Catwoman, and I was thinking, was Michelle Pfeiffer's... I mean, obviously there's the Julie Newmar portrayal of Catwoman, but is Michelle Pfeiffer's cinematically so far the best Catwoman we've had? Is it better than Anne Hathaway's? I think it is. I say yes. I say in terms of what the character is, like the way she was created by getting licked by a bunch of cats after falling out of a window, obviously nonsensical. But the actual portrayal of the Catwoman, I think, is probably better than the Anne Hathaway one.
And she has, like, I mean, it's implied, or is it actually just a plot point that she has, like, more than one life? Like, does she die several times in it? Like, because there's a point...
Twice. She does twice. Oh, no, she gets shot a bunch of times as well. So.
Right. So it is implied that she's been given the power of, like, 9 lives, like a cat does.
Yeah,
There's,
I've never
at
really
some
thought of
stage
it.
during the movie, she references that. She
Yeah.
goes, I've got 9 lives and I've only used 7 of them or whatever it is.
Yeah, how many
Whatever.
bullets you got left in that gun or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually never really thought about it, but you're right. Like there's an element of mysticism in that Batman film. Like she has harnessed the power of cats.
Right. to come up with... And apparently what cats love is cat-based wordplay. Apparently, if you turn into a cat, everything you say in the rest of the movie has to be not in the way a cat would say it. Because I imagine cats having many more conversations about, I might just sit here for a while. Do you like sitting down? Has anyone got any fish?
Yeah.
But apparently, what they really like to do is just work the words cat or like meow into like different sentences. Yeah.
Well, she has the attitude of a cat, I think, more than Anne Hathaway. Like in terms of that kind of cocky, arrogant, don't need you, you're beneath me. I think Michelle Pfeiffer had that going more than the Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway was more of like an aggrieved cat burglar. What was her story again?
Yeah, she was a cat burglar.
Yeah, but she was paying off a debt because she was on some list, right? That's why she wanted to go clean.
Yeah.
But she couldn't because she was on some...
And she needed the universal eraser. I can't remember what they called it.
Yeah.
But the thing that didn't really exist.
That's right. That's
that
right.
Ben Mendelsohn had.
Was it, hang on, wasn't it Bane who was making her do, or was it Ben Mendelsohn?
Yeah, it was Ben Mendelsohn.
See, this is a problem with, look, I know you love the Christopher Nolan films, but I reckon they would be so much better if they just streamlined the plots a little bit more. Like, there's way too much going on. And I'm so sick of films where some scientist has created something which bad guys have stolen and then going to reverse engineer into like something that's going to end the world. If you're inventing that machine, like surely that would be a consideration that, oh, this shouldn't be easily modified but then become like a world-killing machine, right?
Well, I mean, that's an inherent flaw.
Yes.
But, you know, a lot of these machines that are for good can be also used for evil. I mean, that was the atomic bomb, right? That technology wasn't really originally developed to make bombs.
What was it developed for?
Microwaves. No, I don't know. Atomic wedges were originally atomic powered. It was just one guy trying to give a really good wedge.
Well, you're splitting an atom to create energy. That's what essentially like atomic power is, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's guess about science.
So, if the idea of splitting an atom to create energy, yes, that has good applications. But the idea of putting it in a giant metal cylinder filled with shrapnel or whatever, goes into a bomb, I mean, that had no. As soon as it goes in that metal cylinder, it only has one purpose.
Yeah, but even then, people might argue the relative merits or morality of bombs. Is there such a good thing as like a good bomb, right? If you argue that, like, say America got rid of all their bombs, right? If they completely shut down, the US military, got rid of all the nuclear weapons, those sort of things, would that make the world safer?
Well, what do they call? There's a term for it, isn't it? Where it's like you have weapons, so no one else will fuck with you.
Right.
Is there? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but I can't remember the term at the time.
Because I guess it's like being in the States, the fact that everyone has a handgun. Like people say, oh, that's why people are so polite to you, when
Right.
you're driving and stuff, is because
Yeah.
they don't know if you've got a 12 gauge under your seat.
I mean, it's
I'm not sure of that sound logic.
I mean, it's reasonable logic.
Is it?
I think so. Like, I often, if somebody cuts me off in LA traffic, I just go, you know what? They might have a gun.
Do you really? So
Yeah,
that is
give them a little finger wave. That's all right, mate. I'm sure you're in a rush.
Well, I do remember being at a bar in LA about 10 years ago, and these guys were sitting at the table next to us, like they took a dislike to me for some reason. So I was being a bit of a smartass back to them. And then I did have someone say, hey, you shouldn't just mouth off to complete strangers in a bar in LA because you don't know if, they've got guns. It's something you never really have to consider in Australia. Like, I can't fight. There's a high chance that if I mouth off to someone at a bar in Australia, I could get my head kicked in. But that's... that's a risk
they
I'm
have
willing
muscles.
to take. Yeah.
Yeah. They might not be armed, but they have arms.
Arms, yeah.
Therefore, they could still hurt you. So you only see Charlie giving shit to people who have no arms. They're like, what's going on with Charlie?
Jesus
He
Christ.
really seems to hate armless
He's
people.
hanging out at RSLs a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, geez, really? I mean, he's been very supportive of the Paralympics, but some of the stuff he yells over the fence is really
Do you know what happened to
offensive.
Charlie? He got fucking kicked to death the other night. A guy with no arms kicked the shit out of
It's
him.
weird. Charlie's now working in rehab for jugglers who've had accidents in the workplace with chainsaws. It's very weird. So I'm watching Batman Returns.
Right.
And one of the things that occurred to me, because at one stage Michael Keaton goes into, he's like into the Batcave.
Yeah.
And he goes into his like Batsuit room.
Yep.
His Batsuit closet or whatever.
Yeah, it's Vault.
And he has like 8 or 10 or 12
Hanging
or
on
whatever.
coat hangers, I
Hanging on
believe.
coat hangers.
Yeah.
So the Batsuits, that's one of the things that...
Straight, they're covered in plastic with a laundry tag still on them.
I think one of the things... Well, I guess you're actually getting to the point that I was going to try to ask you about, which is he ever putting on... Like, why does he need 12? Because they appear to be in
Battle
this.
damage.
Yeah, but 12?
Well, yeah. I mean, okay, let's say, how often is he going out a week? Is he going out every night?
Let's say he's going out every night.
Every
you only
night.
need, like your jocks, 7 days in Rio.
Yeah.
That's what Alfred gets him for Christmas. 7 new Batsuits, 1 in each colour.
No, I think 10 is reasonable. I mean, the other thing too is if you were to go into maybe the comic book lore, Batman always has suits for different occasions. So
Yeah.
maybe there's a tactical suit, maybe there's a stealth suit, maybe there's a...
But
I mean, they do look exactly the
They
same.
look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So if there is a stealth suit and if there is surely you would keep them in separate places. So in a rush situation, Batman didn't go down and grab what he thought was the stealth suit. It was actually makes the noise of crickets cheeping when his phone rings suit. Like, I mean, they're just for different purposes.
Well, I guess the thing about those bat suits too, because they're those padded foam rubber ones, like it takes away, in the comic books, superheroes just wear the suit under their clothes. So they're never confronted with that situation of, oh shit, like how quickly can I get this suit on? But that bat suit would not fit well under like a normal business suit, would it?
I mean,
They're going to be like, gee, Bruce Wayne's gotten fat.
no, you certainly can't keep it on under your other things.
No, just squeaking, the rubber squeaking with every single move you make.
It's a weird hat he's wearing too. It looks like it has ears on it.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that because he could wear the suit under his outfit, but he's still got that fucking bulky cowl.
You're right.
Like, where's he carrying that? Does he
Well-
have like a man bag?
No, I just assume he has it around his neck like a hoodie.
Hoodie.
Yeah,
Ah,
it just hangs
perfect.
down the back.
I don't think Bruce is really trying to protect his secret identity anymore. He literally had his cowl hanging off the back of his jumper like a hoodie.
Like a hoodie. He said it was Friday Night Footy. What? So weird. There's
Yeah.
like 12 suits. They all look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so then it gets to me a question of laundry. Who's washing that? Who's cleaning them? How often are they cleaning them? Is he say you go out to thwart
Alfred.
like a... Yeah, okay, but just I'll ask you some hypotheticals,
okay,
right?
sure.
Say you've got 12 suits.
Yep.
But say, for example, like you've got like, some clean t-shirts
Mm-hmm.
and then you've gone to bed, but then suddenly you have to go outside and like let the dog out or you have to go outside and like put the bins out in the street or whatever.
Yeah.
So you grab a t-shirt
Yeah.
and you wear it out into the street, you put the bins out and then you bring it back inside.
Yeah.
Does that just go back into the cupboard with all the other ones?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're Batman and you go out and you think it's going to be like the Penguin or Catwoman or something like that, but it's just like an average burglar and you thwart the burglary or whatever and you go home, does that bat suit then need to be washed or is that just a bat suit you can put on again?
Yeah, it depends on the nature of the evening. Like if it was a lot of combat, I imagine he's wanting to get like for instance, when I go to the gym, I have my gym gear, right?
Right.
And I'll probably wear the same outfit 2, maybe 3 sessions in a row because it's like, well, my shittiest clothes will be the ones I work out in. And so I will wear them to the point where I've sweated too much, like where it's repulsive to take off. That's when I'll swap out a t-shirt. So I'd say Batman would do the same thing, where it's like
With the batsuit.
average B and
So
E,
sometimes he's getting into, like, when he's about to go and fight crime, he has to get into like a
an old
sneaky
batsuit.
batsuit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there would have to be an occasion where, just say someone springs all the inmates out of Arkham. So he's working fucking like 20 hours a day
For like a week.
7 days for 2 weeks.
Oh, for 2
right?
weeks. Okay.
So he's
Right.
he's burnt through. Just say he's only got 10 suits. So a week and a half into it, he's burnt through it. And I'd say he's probably got Alfred doing other shit. Everyone, all
Alfred
hands
has
on
no
deck.
time for laundry.
So
in the middle of the Arkham Asylum crisis.
So he would go to his bat laundry basket, just pull out a suit, give it a bit of a sniff. Which one stinks less? What can I get away with?
That'd be a great scene from the movie if he went to that room where the 12 were originally. There was none left, and he has to go over to the laundry basket.
Just sniff them.
Just go. I reckon I can wear this cowl.
Yeah.
So Alfred's washing them, you think?
Yeah, either that or
Is everything that
sends them to
happens-
St Kilda, sends them down to
The industrial-
the industrial dry cleaners.
Well, you can't. But they wouldn't be dry clean. They're made of like, sort of rubber and armor and shit. So you're going to have to wash
what is the
them more
process
than-
of dry cleaning?
I mean, that's a rabbit hole that we've
I mean,
already gone down a few,
like,
but
is it actually they clean your clothes without getting them wet? I mean, I assume. Like, is that a weird question?
no, it's one of those things that we all just accept.
Dry cleaning.
Yeah, it's dry cleaning. Oh, it's dry clean only.
Yeah.
You got to dry clean
So
that,
what are
mate.
you doing when you're dry cleaning? You're
I
spraying
have
it with
no
powder?
idea.
Like odor eating powder? I think I asked because I get my clothes done at a laundromat, and I think I asked the guy once, and he couldn't answer it for me. He didn't even know where it was going. Made me realize that my laundromat's a front for a drug operation. He actually had no idea.
He goes, oh, we've never washed anything.
No. Well, he said we just send them off. We don't actually know
Right.
what the process
Yeah,
is.
we're just a front.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just the
For
middleman,
a drug
mate.
operation.
Dry cleaning is any cleaning process for clothing and textiles. Oh, it's okay. So
Textiles, bat
yeah,
suits.
So it might be dry clean only.
Yeah.
Imagine if it says that on the back of the bat suits, dry clean only.
It's got a little picture of an iron with a cross through it. You don't want to iron out those preset abs anyway.
Yeah, they're meant to be there.
Yeah.
They're not wrinkles, mate. Dry cleaning is any cleaning process for clothing and textiles using a chemical solvent other than water.
Okay.
It is used to clean fabrics that degrade in water.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Oh, well, that makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
like silk or whatever.
And wool and delicate fabrics that cannot withstand the rough and tumble of a washing machine and clothes dryer.
Okay, so you would suggest that a bat suit could handle the rough. If the bat suit's handling the rough and tumble of like unarmed combat, then it can handle a fucking washing machine.
Yeah, but you don't want it to shrink either, do
Or
you?
fade.
Right. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know,
Imagine
if
he's
it-
going out there in like a grey batsuit.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's
Oh,
why
hang
they
on,
went
who
to
are
the
you?
grey
Rat
bat.
Man?
Or it just got patches, just faded patches all over it because he left it in the sun.
Yeah, or he put it in with some colours. There was like one red sock, one brand new red
Robin!
sock, and that.
Wash your clothes at your own goddamn place. All right? It's the back cave, not a laundromat.
And you know the worst thing is too that basic black does show cat hair really
yeah,
badly
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So that's going to be tough. Unlike what the name implies, dry cleaning is not a dry process. Oh, here we
There
go.
we go.
Now we're getting deep on dry cleaning. Clothes are soaked in a solvent other than water. Tetrachloroethylene,
Yeah.
which the industry calls perk.
Ooh.
Yeah, fair enough. It's easier.
It's sounding more and more like a drug front.
Doesn't it? It's not dry at all.
Yeah.
You got to get the perk.
Yeah, man. I need some perk, man. Can
Need
you help
some
me out some
perk?
perk? I'm good for it.
I got a stain on my suit. I need some perk, man. And it is the most widely used solvent. Okay, so perks. You got to get some perks. Alternative solvents. Okay, yeah, okay, blah, blah, blah.
So I guess my question is, so it's a liquid. It's a chemical liquid.
Yeah.
Is it still sloshed around? Is it applied in the same way?
Well, this is what I would like to know. I want to know how it actually works.
Are you on the Wikipedia page
Yeah,
for dry
I am.
cleaning?
Process. Here we
Here
go.
we go, yeah.
A dry cleaning machine. Oh, so it's a machine. Is similar to a combination of a domestic washing machine and a clothes dryer.
Okay, all in one.
Okay. Well, that doesn't give us much information. I've stayed in service departments that have a washing machine that turns into a dryer,
Yeah.
and they're the worst. Garments are placed in the washing or extraction chamber,
Yes.
referred to as the basket or drum, which constitutes the core of the machine. Okay, yep, sure. The washing chamber contains a horizontal perforated drum that rotates within an outer shell. Okay, they're giving us a little bit too much information here, mate. Somebody's been asked how dry cleaning works and has really lent into it. All right, okay. During the wash cycle, the chamber is filled approximately 1/3 full of solvent and begins to rotate, agitating the clothing. The solvent temperature is maintained at 30 degrees Celsius, as a higher temperature may damage it. During the wash cycle, the solvent in the chamber, commonly known as the cage or tackle box,
Bullshit.
in the tackle box, is passed through the filtration chamber and fed back into the cage. This is known as a cycle and continued for the wash duration.
Right. So so the solvent sucks out the gunk. It gets passed through the filter. The filter traps the gunk, and then the chemicals come through for a second go.
The solvent's then removed and sent to a distillation unit,
Where it's turned into ice.
But it's turned into ice, yeah. All right, there you go. Not all stains can be removed by dry cleaning. So this is...
Largest story of my life.
Well, this is the Charlie Clausen story.
Oh, you seem to have spit a lot of toothpaste on your pants. Yeah. I don't know how that got there.
Just love brushing my teeth. Okay, so this is what Batman needs to know, though, or Alfred needs to know, whoever's doing the laundry, because not all stains. So...
not all stains, hashtag.
Not all hashtag not all stains. All right. What doesn't say though? Oh my God! Don't tell me that some not all stains can be removed and then not explain what stains can't be.
I guess it would depend on though. They couldn't specify because it depends on the material and the stain. I'm sure it's a combination, right?
No, that's actually a good point.
But nothing would stain a bat suit.
Who washes
the bat suit?
Yeah. Surely there's some information on this, right? Who washes the bat suit? Forum, of course. Forum, how does Batman wash his outfit? There you go. Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right.
I mean, I think the thing, though, with this is, are we talking... Because in the comic book, it's a cloth suit. Like, it's like Jimmy Jams he slides on. So you could just throw that in the wash.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, he could be wearing that to bed.
Yeah.
In case there's an emergency in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, if everyone seems to be agreeing that Alfred is the person who's responsible for the batsuit maintenance.
Yeah.
How does Alfred have time for butlering? Because if he's doing
stuff,
like all the things that we assign to Alfred, all the things that we're constantly like, so Alfred does that.
He does field dressings. Yep. He does communications. He runs drones. He sort of monitors the Batcave or Batman's on a mission.
Keeps the computers up to date.
Up to date. I'm constantly clicking updates.
Right, constantly. And often for times where like Bruce isn't getting involved for like 7 years, but Alfred's still down there installing the latest update of Adobe just in case of emergency, right? He's overqualified. I know we've talked about this before, but he's overqualified to be a butler.
Yeah, but he's not. I think the butler's just his cover, right? What he really is would you say he's a mentor? No, he's the. If someone becomes your ward, what are you to them? He's basically their guard. He's a guardian. Right. He's a guardian.
What's he getting paid? Is he getting paid butler wages or is he getting paid...
I reckon he gets butler wages, but with some on-the-table perks. You know what I mean? He would probably have stock in Wayne Enterprises and stuff like that. I think the weird thing is, if you are a child who has grown up with this butler who decides to go on this mission of vengeance, how do you talk him into... Like, how did the first conversation go where Bruce was like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing. I'm not sure... if you're interested, but I'm going to avenge my parents' death by dressing up like a bat and going out into the night and beating up on criminals. What I really need is someone who can fix my, give me field dressings if I get injured, knows how to operate the computer, can, do some surveillance for me.
Basically what I'm saying is, I've got an idea for a plan where I get all the glory, but you do all the work. Yeah. I know for years it's just been making toast and stuff. But I've got a new direction. By the way, you're in your 70s. Would you like to get involved in a life-threatening mission?
I think they retconned his backstory.
Yeah.
Where he was
ex-Special Forces.
Ex-Special Forces. Like, that's why, he's like the Jason Statham. In fact, that's who should be Alfred, not Jeremy Irons. Can you imagine Jason Statham as like a grumpy, crotchety Cockney Alfred?
I absolutely can.
That'd be awesome. Fantastic.
Well, maybe you could do a...
Wash your own fucking Batmobile.
Well, how about a spin-off, though, about Alfred's kind of earlier years? Like, maybe when young Bruce is away.
That would be underway, 100%, I guarantee. Haven't they done that on Gotham or something? That sounds like something that would have been done already.
But that could be a movie, right?
The early years
Jason Statham is Alfred.
But isn't it the same Yeah, it could be a movie, but do you just completely separate it from the Batman universe, or do you just have a shot at the end where he returns home and has to pick up young Bruce from school or something?
Yeah, no, you could set it like in that time that Bruce is away.
Yeah. But don't you have the problem? I mean, who is going... What I'm saying is, why don't you just make a completely new property? Like, if you're only going to reference...
Okay, sure.
That this guy goes to be Bruce Wayne. But couldn't you just do the same story about, like, a guy who was a fucking Special Forces killer who then became a butler and not actually attach it to the Batman universe? Because that seems to me to be ripe with possibilities.
I mean, yeah, but I also like the idea that it's also Alfred. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy is like, yeah, I'm in the Special Forces, but you know what my real passion is? Which way you lay out the cutlery.
Do you watch Gotham? Have you watched any of Gotham?
You know what? This is interesting because I have said in the past that it's very hard for me to stop watching TV shows. Like once I start it, we call it the Smallville rule.
Yeah.
10 seasons.
We call it OCD.
Oh, I think we also said last episode we were both going to bring 5 DVDs. Remember?
Oh, shit. I completely forgot about that.
Next week. Only reason I was reminded of that was like that we literally started talking about Smallville again.
Can someone please remind us next Wednesday that we have to bring in DVDs?
Yeah, remind us we're going to do a DVD thing.
Yeah.
It won't be as hard for me because all my DVDs are just there.
Yeah.
But I might find some that are actually in the boxes.
Yeah.
But yes, I watched the first couple of series and I heard it has got better, but no, I eventually I just was like, eventually I made a choice. I was like, which of these two shows that aren't wholly satisfying me am I going to continue with? And it was going to be Gotham or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I decided to go with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And I've heard Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has gotten better.
I believe it has.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got Stockholm Syndrome. I've watched it long enough now that I'm, no, this is good.
But don't you think there is an inherent problem when you are doing a prequel or a backstory? We've talked about this before, but like, when you explain away the magic or the enigma of, that character or that universe that we like, then who wants everything explained to them? Like that's not what storytelling should either lead you to a conclusion or leave you asking a question, not explain everything to the point where there's no mystery left.
Yeah, but I think with Alfred, it's not like you're suddenly going to go, oh, this is how it all, the whole mystery was solved.
Well, I guess it works
because
for
he's
Alfred.
a side character anyway.
Yeah.
So you're fleshing out this whole thing where you can tell as many new stories as you really want because no one...
Which is kind of what they're doing with Star Wars now, I guess, is, they're delving into characters who are peripherally associated with the story that everyone knows. But I didn't enjoy Rogue One. Like, I know some people think it was one of the better ones, but it all just felt... I think that... When was the last time you saw an original film? Like a film that was not based off a pre-existing property or, a prequel or a remake or whatever?
I mean, I've watched a few. I mean, I watched a few this year.
Well, I saw Get Out this year.
Yep.
That was completely new. John Wick is completely original. I'm talking about genre films, obviously.
Yep.
But then when you look at what's coming up or what's planned, all these sequels and reboots, I'm like, these are all great stories that could be told independently and you could be kickstarting like a dozen other kind of universes. There is, I guess, that paranoia of will people come opening weekend if they don't immediately recognize the name. But even like this Baywatch remake that they've done, I was like, couldn't you have just done like a sexy adult comedy about a bunch of lifeguards and not called it Baywatch? Like, are people really going to go, oh yeah, I want to see my two loves like The Rock and Baywatch together for the first time? Like, The Rock's a pretty big movie star. I reckon you could just do something completely aside from that, and it may give you more freedom to do more interesting things. You're not beholden to kind of like nodding to the audience and referencing. I mean, I assume there's a David Hasselhoff joke, or maybe he makes a cameo or something in Baywatch. I don't know. Have you heard anything about that?
I think he's on the ground eating a burger. It's a really funny bit. I auditioned. Well, I didn't audition for it.
That's right.
They sent me the script and asked if I wanted to audition
As
for
an
it.
Australian?
You know what? I think I said no so quickly. Like, I read a bit of it, but I can't even remember if it was an Australian character or not.
Yeah.
Either way, it was not something that I was going to do.
Hey, did we get back to Tom Cruise? What was his big announcement?
Oh, okay. So we can get back. We can get back to that.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise announced. Now, we didn't talk about the Dark Universe. We really
that's
went
right.
on a
Yeah,
we went on a big
dry cleaning
journey.
to the dry cleaners.
So, firstly, well, let's talk about the Dark Universe, seeing that we promised we'd do
Yes.
that, and then we'll get to his massive revelation.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. So I went and saw The Mummy a couple of days ago, and it starts as actually like a logo. This is how seriously Universal are taking it. There's like the dark, and it's basically an inversion of the Universal logo. So, you know, the spinning Earth. It's like a dark planet and dark universe. But when you see the film,
The logo was actually designed for them by Lex Luthor when he was designing all the logos for
Yeah.
the superheroes in the last Superman
right.
film.
it's so clearly set up to be they're turning these characters. I mean, I'd heard that this is what they were doing. They're bringing the monsters together, and I was like, okay, cool. So it's going to be a bunch of like, you know, reboots of old horror films. That could be interesting, but they're superheroed it up a bit. They're taking these characters, they're Suicide Squadding it. They're taking these bad guys and turning them to superheroes, and it's just one of these things of, I don't know that the Mummy or the Invisible Man and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde count as superheroes. Like, I think or at least the superhero treatment. I mean, maybe comic book characters, you could say, but, you know, they don't, just because they all have superpowers doesn't make them superheroes. I don't think you can graft that formula onto traditional villains.
Yeah, so in this, okay, so you've seen The Mummy, and
Yeah.
spoilers
It's not out
or
yet,
whatever.
so I won't spoil
don't
it.
spoil it. But what's the
Gist
kind of
of it.
gist? Like, as in, like, what's the superhero
Well,
they're
it's-
trying to create out of The Mummy? Because it's not The Mummy, right?
Well, I mean,
it can't be like, no one's going, hey, you know what we need for our superhero gang? The Mummy.
I think, I mean, how do I do this without giving away spoilers? The one thing I can say is it's similar to the original Mummy remakes, the ones with Brendan Fraser. So Tom Cruise is the Brendan
But not
Fraser.
the third one with The Rock.
Not the third one with The Rock, no. But there are some similarities. He's like a roguish adventurer. It's not set in, because I think those original ones were set in the 30s or something. It's present day, and he works for the army. You know, he's like an Indiana Jones kind of, I don't know what he does. He saves relics from cities that are in war zones or something like that. But then it sort of jumps into kind of more traditional sort of horror film, because they find this mummy and the curse starts, and then everywhere he goes, trouble seems to follow and stuff. Now, the way they set it up to be a superhero guide, I'm going to have to spoil it. So
Okay, if you're really desperate
if you're
about...
dying to see...
Yeah, The Mummy.
Yeah. So at the end, he, you know, has this battle with the mummy, and he defeats the mummy, but in that process, he absorbs some mummy mojo.
Right.
So you see him finish the film as a supercharged Tom
Right.
Cruise. So what I'm thinking is it's going to be like a Hulk-like power.
Sure.
Or it'll
He'll
be
be
like
able to mummy up.
Yeah. It's not the case that he'll suddenly be wrapped in bandages and walking really slowly. But I think because in this
His
film...
catchphrase will be, I need my mummy.
Shane Mumford comes stumbling in. No, the mummy in this film has power. Like, she's got sort of like, you know, psychic abilities. She can control minds. She
Okay.
can make giant sandstorms, seems to be a big thing she likes to do.
Okay, so she's got, the power to, like, control the elements.
Well, her backstory is that she was like a princess in Egypt who made a deal with the devil for blah, 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 blah. And then she was killed and sealed in that a sarcophagus before she could wreak her evil.
Oh, right. So
So
she
then-
wanted to wreak evil, though. So she made
Well,
the deal with the devil.
the demon within her. She was a vessel for the evil.
Okay.
So now Tom, I believe, has the devil, but for some reason it's under control. I don't know.
Okay, interesting. No,
Yeah.
That's all right. I can understand, like, Tom Cruise with mummy powers. That might be a way that you could...
Does that make sense though? Like, because that's not really. Again, it comes back to my point of, like, just make a film about an adventurer who, you know, battles some person with an ancient curse, and then he gets given that curse. Because when you think of the mummy, you think very specifically wrapped in bandages, walking slow. You know, like that's kind of what that story is. Just because you have those properties, you know, doesn't mean you need to like crowbar them into this superhero universe.
Charlie, why are you trying to use... Like, seriously, why are you trying to buy new food when we've got all these leftovers that we
true.
can just make into
Waste.
something?
It's waste.
It's waste. We already own the mummy.
It reminded me a little bit in tone of like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Right.
Which is
It's
kind of a
terrible.
similar, but that's a similar idea, right? All these
Yeah.
Victorian kind
Yeah.
of folk heroes.
One of those
some
things,
villains.
in some ways, one of those things that can work really well as like a comic book, but sometimes when you try to translate onto the big screen, you lose some of the sort of literary references and that vibe of it.
Well, and especially when it comes from Alan Moore, who's like known for being so meticulous in like the way he creates a frame, the dialogue he uses, the references he's making, to then supercharge it with a Michael Bay-esque kind of vibe, and all of a sudden Tom Sawyer's in it, and he's fucking a gunslinger or whatever the fuck. Was it Tom or Huckleberry Finn? One of those two. You remember that? Like, he's not even in the comic books. It's like, we need to make American audiences aren't going to like these lame ass, like, European folk heroes. We need to get like an American in there as a gunslinger. It's like, was Huckleberry Finn a gunslinger? I don't think he was. Tom Sawyer, did he ever touch a gun? That seems odd. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the idea of like reinventing something and giving it a new spin, and there's things you can play off. Is there any mummy, like, is there any like in jokes on the idea? Does like Tom Cruise ever have to wrap his head in bandages or something like that? I mean, that would be a good play for the second one, where he's in some sort of accident and he actually has to be in bandages or something.
There is
like
quite
that,
a bit of humor in it. Cause the funny thing was, because Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe and the director were all there, and they sort of came out, and the way they were selling the film was like, oh, it's going to scare the shit out of you. And I was like, okay, cool. We're seeing a reboot of The Mummy and they're going to, make it a horror film. But then it played out like a Marvel movie where, there's some kind of like, they're trying to give you some jump scares, but it's definitely not a horror film. So I feel like it's got its ass between two chairs. You know what I mean? It's that thing of, this is an action adventure, and they have heaps of kind of like comedy. Like Tom Cruise does quite a bit of, winks to the camera. It's very sort of self-aware that this is all like, bizarre, ridiculous things that are happening now. You know what it reminded me of? American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
Because, again, spoilers, 2 seconds to turn off.
For American Werewolf in London?
No, for The Mummy. But his best friend dies,
right,
and then appears as a phantom who sort of guides him, like a ghoulish looking phantom. And so there's always these jokes about how scary he looks.
Ooh, I'm exposition man.
Yeah, exactly. New superhero. Oh my god, let's franchise it.
I'm here to explain some plot holes.
Yeah, it was just a weird.
I want to know more about the Russell Crowe and these guys being. Talk me
so
through
Russell's.
How does this? No, talk me a bit through the night. What was the night you went to?
So
where you saw it?
It was the opening. The Sydney opening.
And so, how does that work? Do they like, as in, are you in a cinema where they make some speeches or something?
That's right. Yeah, so they have like the whole red carpet kind of do.
Okay, and so everyone walks down the red carpet,
and this was a fairly like a big event. Like they shut down Market Street, it's a state theatre and stuff, and Dickie Wilkins was there.
I mean, they've literally shut down Market Street, I think, to put in a light rail for the next 6 years. But sure, they also shut down Market Street in the centre of Sydney. The city came to a halt.
It felt like it. There's quite a few people.
Like, how many in the crowd do you reckon?
A few thousand,
okay.
I'd say. Like the entire, so the opposite side to the State Theatre, that was covered in people, had barricades up and stuff. And because Tom and Russell and the other two girls in the film did a fair bit of, went out to the crowd and took photos and signed autographs. Okay. And so then when you go into the cinema.
So, I mean, Tom Cruise is a big movie star still, right?
Yeah.
Having him in Sydney is still a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's still a big deal. It's still exciting for people to see, like, Tom Cruise on the streets of Sydney.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell, he probably just rode his bike down from his house.
It looked like it.
Oh, did it? Because it is only about 10 minutes from where he lives or something. Totally. So
he just came from the studio with Merrick.
Right.
Just for a short Uber ride, 5 minutes up the road. But no, so it's a fairly big do in terms of, like, they had drinks and there was like food there and stuff. There's a weird thing when you got to your seats.
What do you get? Drinks and food? Movie drinks and food, or other sort of drinks?
Like
and food?
booze. Like they had a full bar there, so whatever you could get at that cinema. So beer and wine and champagne and stuff like that.
Is that? Is there always an open bar for those sort of things?
No.
Or is that sort of like...
Enjoy the film.
Yeah.
Make sure you enjoy the film.
Make sure you have a couple of tequilas on the way in.
Well, yeah, I think there
Don't worry if you need to go to the toilet. There'll be a ghost that explains everything you missed.
In my experience going to a few of these things, the rule of thumb tends to be the bigger the production, the dodgier the quality of the film. Let me just say that the last film I saw at the State Theatre at a big event do like this was Zoolander 2.
Oh, okay.
So I get the feeling that the studio is like, ooh, we need to get a good opening weekend.
Yeah, you got to get everyone in before they hear about it.
Yeah, exactly. So then when you sit down in the seats, you're looking at the movie screen, and this is weird. They had like a live feed going, because it was like a live TV production going on outside the studio. So they had a live feed going to the cinema with Dickie Wilkins and Sonia Kruger interviewing people as they came down the red carpet.
Richard Wilkins was like, who are you wearing? And Sonia Kruger was like, do you think Muslims should stay out of Australia?
But there was this... so they split the screen into 4. So Dickie on one side, then you had like a tweet window so people could tweet, hey, I'm at the Mummy premiere. And then there was this sort of bird's eye view of the photo wall. So, as kind of people come in, they go against the wall and the press gallery takes like a bunch of photos. Okay. But I went down that wall and didn't realize there was a camera there. Like you're facing a bunch of cameras, but I'm not particularly good at having my photo taken. I never know where to put my hands. I never know whether I should smile or not. And you always feel very awkward. And the good thing is, once I sat down at the cinema and watched the screen, I realized, everyone fucking hates doing this. Yeah. Everyone's really awkward, because you'd see people come in and not know where to put their arms, get shuffled. You'd just occasionally see a publicist come up and move someone on because Russell needs to step into the frame and stuff. Like that was really good entertainment. I was really gripped by that.
That's why Russell's always giving people the finger. He's actually a really friendly guy. He just doesn't know what to do with his hands in photo situations. Once threw a phone at a guy just because the phone was in his hand and he panicked. Someone took his photo.
So then, before the movie starts, the Sonia and Dickie come out and they, talk about how great the film is, how scared they were when they saw it, and then they bring out
and look, they are this generation's David and Margaret. So if Richard Wilkins and Sonia Kruger tell you something that they're being paid to promote is good, then you believe it.
Yeah, exactly. So then the director comes out with the cast. So it was Tom and Rusty, the girl, I believe her name's Sophie. She's the chick from Kingsman with the razor blade legs.
Okay, sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. Have you seen Star Trek in the Beyond, the new one?
No.
Okay, she's in that. And then some actress I haven't heard of before, some English lady. And so they do, Richard Wilkins, skilled interviewer. So they,
So what sort of questions? Can you remember anything that Richard asked them? Like, because what sort of stuff is he dishing out? Was it fun to make the movie? Russell, had you worked with Tom before?
Well, the one thing I can remember was...
Did you like the original films? Is there any of that sort of stuff? Or?
Yeah, there was a lot of... It was just a bit more
Who washes Batman suits?
Hey, Tom and Rusty, you guys have been mates for ages. What took so long for you guys
to work together?
Yeah. For the girls, what was it like? You're working with two legends, and they were very happy to be working with two legends. And then the director, it was only his second film, and so one of them said, "So what was it like? Your second film, big budget, big stars?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I was sort of terrified at first, but then I met them, and they're just such professionals, blah blah blah." Then Tom and Russell go on this. They're trying to be complimentary, but just through raising it makes you go, oh, geez, this must have been a tough shoot for this guy. Because Tom was like, every day I'd say to him, man, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Wow. Yeah, I'm really impressed. You're doing a great job. Which suggests that Tom thought maybe this guy wasn't going to be up to it.
Feels like a bit too much. Yeah.
And then Rusty says something along the lines of, because Richard said it must have been the thrill of the lifetime. And the director's gone, yeah, it was. And then Rusty's gone, yeah, but he was terrified. It's like, oh, Jesus. Like, the guy's here. He made the film. So they kept them on stage for about 5 minutes. They have a good time. Tom Cruise is like, I've never seen him in person before. I can sort of, on one hand, see why he's a movie star, because he is just very charismatic. Like, he just looks and
he's got that aura.
Like a movie star. Yep. But he smiles too much. Like, there's something about that smile. You've heard that, Christian Bale, when he was doing research for Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, watched a lot of Tom Cruise interviews, because he said there's something about someone who's that positive and happy all the time, you can't buy it. And I got that as well. It's like, he's probably so big a star that this has nothing to do with... I'm not suggesting it's like Scientology or anything else. I think this is a guy who gets recognized wherever he goes. And so he has this mode of operation, which is, this is how I diffuse and disengage any situation so that I don't get cornered or asked weird questions. But
also the other thing is that he's like Coke. Do you know what I mean? Like his whole...
a cola?
A cola.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Like his whole appeal was, he was never the greatest actor in the world. He's a fine actor. but he was just consistently good, and clearly he was just happy, and people liked him, and he was handsome.
You never hear bad
and he didn't have
stories of
weird hair or
people
didn't do any sort of like
working with Tom Cruise, do you? Like, no one complains about him being late or being like...
No,
all
super
the stories you
professional.
hear
Does
is-
his own stunts,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. To this day,
Yeah.
you know, not really phoning anything in.
He still fucking does his own stunts. He does a bunch
Yeah.
of his own stunts in this film. It's like, you don't have to, man. Don't worry about it.
But this is the thing. This is what he brings to the table. Is
Yeah.
I imagine that sort of relentless energy. He's got that Anthony
right.
Robbins or Ryan Seacrest is another example of someone who, with no real discernible talent, although not without talent, like he clearly has talents. But it's more just a force of nature.
Yeah.
Like someone who
Sheer
was just
will.
you knew from early on, you were like, oh yeah, Ryan Seacrest is just going to be around forever. He just has that like sheer force of will. And like Tom Cruise is that as well.
Yeah.
I think for Tom Cruise.
He got to be a better actor, though. Like, I think...
Oh, no, and I'm not saying he's not a... And I think Ryan Seacrest is a decent enough host of things as well, which is a
Yeah.
hard skill to do.
Yeah.
But there's a kind of, I'm white bread. I'm Coca-Cola.
Yeah, yeah.
What people like about me is that I deliver them. I'm not necessarily, the most healthy thing or the most like progressive or new thing, but they know what they're going to get. I'm McDonald's,
Funny you should say that. I remember years ago when Interview with a Vampire came out, and that was like, he was a controversial choice to play Lestat because, he was the biggest Coca-Cola white bread movie star in the world, and he'd been hired to play this
Cult vampire, gothic sort of, underground character, beloved by people who probably didn't love Tom Cruise.
Exactly, 100%. And I remember watching TV. They did a big special on Oprah where they did a screening of the film with him, and then he and Brad Pitt came out and took questions from the audience. And he still had the Lestat hair, like obviously he hadn't had time to cut it since he'd finished shooting, so he had the long blonde ponytail and stuff. And all the questions out of the crowd, it was really interesting, were people who were upset about how violent it was, how it was kind of like thinly veiled homosexuality going on, how, what is the message? Like, Tom, we know you for being Maverick, and we know you for being like The Color of Money and stuff. Like, we don't like this kind of sexually ambiguous, violent, child abusing.
He's new Coke.
Yeah.
He's vanilla Coke. They're like, no, we just wanted Coke.
But it's the only time I remember seeing Tom Cruise like not smiling. He actually seemed on the back foot from it. I don't think he was expecting to get that reaction. He was trying to justify a lot that, well, it's a fucking vampire film, so there's going to be a fair bit of blood and sexual ambiguity and blah, blah, blah. But his core demographic, and they're mainly middle-aged women, were just like, no, we don't like this. We want other Tom Cruise back. Can we have him, please? We don't like blonde.
I think Tom Cruise, and this is
blood
one thing that
drinking.
you can actually, take aside his, personal life and his religious stuff and all that sort of, assorted,
Did you say assorted or assorted?
well, probably assorted. I've made up a new word, but it's probably very applicable. All that sort of stuff. But take that up. Let's just look at Tom Cruise, the actor and movie star, right? He probably could have made even more money than he's made by just being Coke.
Yeah.
He would have been offered 1 million roles and he would have just been Coke in all of them. But he was the one who was pushing to,
Try
do
to
Born on the
different
4th of
stuff.
July or to do, the vampire movie or to do these sort of things. Like he's tried, I think, over his career.
Yeah.
And I think often the audience have been like, nah, drive a racing car or something.
Yeah.
Drive, fly a plane and be really good at that.
Well, he's getting to a point too in his career. I mean, the other thing about him is he looks amazing. Like, he must be in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
I think he's had just the right amount of work at just the right times.
And he's super fit too.
Super
He's
fit.
got a bit of super fit face.
Yeah.
When... as in, a combination of... I mean, obviously...
Super fitted face.
Yeah, but both. His
Yeah.
face has got that shape
Someone
now
who
of
doesn't
someone who-
doesn't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, clearly does not have that hanging sallow skin.
He doesn't have the puffy, grey face of the people I surround myself with. And when I say surround myself with, I mean I see when I look in the mirror.
But for so long, he was, he was your go-to action/drama guy.
Yeah.
Treaded those two worlds completely. But he's getting to a point now where it's not that he's looking his age, but I did go, this is not the same Tom Cruise that we saw. Like, he may... I don't know how... I mean, I'm sure they're making another Mission Impossible and stuff, and if they do this Dark Universe thing, if it does well. But I'm just like, he's at that tipping point now. Like, Val Kilmer can't play those roles anymore. Like John Travolta stopped being able to play those roles about 15 years ago. There does come a point where you've got to stop, chasing people around with guns and stuff.
Well, Charlie, you have brought us to a very
really?
interesting point in the podcast with what you've just said. So let's just have a little pause and a break.
Okay.
And we will come back
Ooh,
after
bit of sizzle.
this with the bombshell.
Okay.
Bombshell.
Michael, I'm sure you can do something with that. Put some echo on it or something.
So, Tom Cruise, once, the highest paid actor and highest earning actor in all of Hollywood, decided to drop a bombshell on the Sunrise program this morning. This is fresh news that you are not even aware of.
No.
That he is going to make a sequel to one of his classic films.
Top Gun.
Top Gun 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hear the announcement, but I saw something else about their eyeing directors or whatever.
Right.
Which, all right. This is the way to do it. Maverick is now he's like a general or something. Yeah, he's Tom Skerritt. And a young, cocky Clint Eastwood's son. What's his name? Scott Eastwood. Perfect. Oh, I've got it done. Don't worry. Tom, give me a call. He comes in. He's cocky. He's got father issues. Tom recognizes he had father issues. Scott Eastwood lost his dad, in Iraq or something like that. And he's got all the talent in the world.
What a great companion piece to another film where he has mummy issues. So... It's his mummy issues and daddy issues.
So he said it's legit green light.
It's happening.
Wow.
It's happening and Val Kilmer's going to be involved.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm suddenly very interested.
Right.
I hope it's like
I hope it's set.
Not Iceman. I hope it's Val Kilmer and not Iceman. Forget whatever character traits they established in the first Top Gun. Can we just have wacky, Twitter-addicted Val Kilmer in this version?
Well,
he's got his cravat, he's doing his paintings on the side. Do you follow Val Kilmer on Twitter?
Yeah, he's amazing.
Amazing.
And he's not well, right? He's got,
What?
I think he's got some illness, right? Yeah. Let's have a look. We'll look up Val Kilmer.
Are you sure you're not thinking about Doc Holliday in Tombstone? Because he was just acting
he's
there.
he's got
Army
whatever he had.
Huckleberry.
What did he have in? Cancer. Val Kilmer cancer comes up when I Google here. So, Batman actor Val Kilmer. Oh, wow. I mean,
he's done other stuff.
he's done plenty of other stuff. Batman actor Val
Not
Kilmer
hates Val Kilmer.
tells Reddit Q&A.
Not real geniuses Val Kilmer.
He had cancer. Okay. Says he's healing. All right, here we go. Val Kilmer has finally confirmed numerous reports that he was battling cancer during a recent AMA on Reddit. The actor had never acknowledged the rumors as legitimate, but now confirms he has had a healing of cancer.
Does that sound like he didn't go to a doctor?
I mean, it does sound a little... Well, he probably cured it with paintings and cravats.
Did they say anything about Val Kilmer coming back?
Okay, hang on.
Anthony Edwards can't come back.
Well, no.
Unless Goose actually survived.
Well, what a great plot point.
Yeah.
It turns out that Goose didn't die in that accident.
Yeah.
He actually survived the crash, but for 30 years, he's been living like the Winter Soldier.
But yeah.
Hydra style. He's turned into an enemy and he comes back to fight.
Yeah.
And the only person who can take down Goose.
The Goose is Maverick with his recklessness.
Back into the
reckless
plane.
Maverick who won't pull out of that chase.
And the great thing is that Maverick, in the 30 years that he's been in teaching, that reckless nature of his that everybody has always heard about, that's not really in him anymore. We open on a Maverick who's now the most concerned. He's driving on his way to work, and he's driving really slowly and really carefully, and he's not taking any risks. There's people in traffic around him getting angry at me because he's too meticulous. He's too careful. He's taken all the risk out of his life. But then when the evil Goose arises, he finds out
evil Goose.
that Goose.
That's the colon. Top Gun 2, the evil Goose arises.
So evil Goose comes back.
Yeah, I like it.
Disfigured, lost his memory, of course.
Okay,
in
so
the accident.
remember in the first film we actually see the funeral. Meg Ryan's crying.
Yeah, but we never know if they buried it. Actually,
No. Okay, so
that's one of the scenes.
right.
One of the scenes in the film is where Maverick goes to Goose's grave and digs it up. That's a powerful scene, right? And then you discover that there's actually nothing in there.
So we need a flashback scene. They'll use some de-aging Michael Douglas Ant-Man technology. And so what's happened is that they pull him out of the water. He gets taken into the kind of, morgue or whatever. He but then he wakes up and he's in a lab.
Yeah, one
And
of
it's
those classic.
yeah. And it's a bunch of kind of like doctors, and they say they're working on the shadow program.
Yeah, but it's the enemy, right? It's whoever they were fighting in the final scene.
He would have been pulled out of the water because Maverick would have radioed in that it had been shot down, so they would have pulled him out of the water. So the intercept.
I reckon there was like a Russian sub going by or something like that. And they've picked him up.
But Mav's holding on to him the whole time. Like, what happened? How do they get separated? All of a sudden, he just slips from under his arms.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like, oh, well. Mav's like, shark. Guess that was a shark.
Well, there's a scene we haven't seen because obviously Maverick's had to be like, in some way explain.
My memory is
maybe
that
Maverick passes out. Maybe there's a scene just there where Maverick passes out.
Well, you can do that with the de-aging technology. Right. Is that Maverick, he swallowed too much salt water.
Yeah, that's right.
He passed out. And when he woke up, he was just holding an empty jacket.
Right.
He doesn't know what happened. That's good.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to him.
We actually see what really happened. He thinks that he was holding Goose, but it turns out he was holding this.
And Mav, apart from that final mission in Top Gun, after that Mav never flew again. Because he was so traumatized about killing his partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, he had PTSD. Yeah. And we can deal with that, right?
That's why he's smiling all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, he's ironically, he doesn't even go by Maverick anymore. He goes by his name. He doesn't like when people call, when anyone sees him, hasn't seen him for a while and tries to call him Maverick, he's like, I'm not Maverick anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Don't call me that.
Don't call me
that.
that.
Well, what's Maverick's surname? Or is Maverick his surname? Is Maverick his actual name?
No, Maverick's his nickname.
That's
it's his Top Gun nickname, like Iceman or whatever.
Call sign.
Yeah, okay. Hang on. I'm going to have to look up the original Top Gun and see.
You know what they have to have in this sequel too is that fantastic homoerotic volleyball scene where they're all like slapping bums and high-fiving in slow motion, oiled up. Reenact it, but with all the actors they are now. So get a kind of hefty Val Kilmer in there.
Well, that'd be a great kind of extra scene on the beach.
Yeah.
Like they're going by on a beach and you just see all these old men playing beach volleyball.
Slapping each other's bums.
But then you realise it's the actual guys from the original one. That'd be a nice little nod, a nice little wink. All right, let's have a look at the plot of Top Gun and just see if we can find out. Here we go. United States Naval Aviator, Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell. So now
Pete Mitchell?
Yeah.
As in Channel 7 newsreader?
Yeah.
Peter Mitchell.
Peter Mitchell, named after the Channel 7 newsreader. Lieutenant Pete Mitchell. So he's now going by Peter Mitchell. And he's like he's the higher ranked.
Sergeant Mitchell.
Yeah. And his radar intercept officer, LTJG Nick Goose Bradshaw.
What is LTJG?
Lieutenant something, I imagine.
Right. Yeah. What's his name? Proper name?
Nick Goose Bradshaw. So Nick Bradshaw.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay, I like that. So Pete Mitchell and Nick Bradshaw. They really sound like 80s musicians.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Are you going to see the reunion of
Pete Mitchell and Nick Bradshaw?
I love those guys. They're brilliant. One was in Spandau Ballet and one was in Take That, right?
They're doing an acoustic set.
Yeah. Mitchell and Bradshaw. You go and see them.
No, Mitchell and Bradshaw sounds like a real estate agency.
Bradshaw and Mitchell.
Yeah.
So they're flying the Tomcat aboard the USS Enterprise.
Enterprise?
Yeah. They, with Maverick's wingman, Cougar, and his Ario Merlin.
Ario Speedwagon.
Intercept fictional Mikoyan Gurik. Oh, sorry, I'm getting that wrong. Over the Indian Ocean. During the engagement, Maverick flies his Tomcat parallel to one of the MiGs and inverts his craft in order to give the other pilot the finger.
Yeah.
A feat that adds to his already wild reputation.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the start, when he's driving in the traffic, they give him the finger. And he won't even respond to that, right? You play off the finger.
Yeah, but you got to have someone taking a Polaroid as well, because I think that's what they do, right? Flip the bird and then take a Polaroid.
Yeah, so they're in the car. One's taking a Polaroid on the phone now, though, like on the modern day phone, taking a photo, and the other one's.
Or do you reckon it's more that the kids who are training, whoever's at the flight academy or whatever?
Yeah, but this is just the establishing scene in the opening shot.
Okay.
I want a shot that tells us immediately that Maverick is now conservative.
Him off, though?
Just like some other people in traffic.
Okay, so it's a coincidence. It's not like
no,
anyone
this is
who
the
knows
whole
his
thing.
history.
This is a play to the original thing.
It's a thematic link more than a.
It's telling you that this ain't the Maverick that you knew.
Yeah.
All right. So,
by the way, did he get the call sign Maverick? Like, did his behavior create is like his code name, or
is it nominative determinism?
because is that like giving yourself a nickname where you call yourself like Ace?
Right.
You can't just walk in and say, hey, just call me Maverick.
Well, I can't think that Goose would have assigned himself the nickname Goose.
No, so he was given Maverick. We assume due to his devil may care attitude.
Well, I imagine they don't give out the call signs on day one.
Right.
I imagine it's one of those things where you're there for a while, you get to know their personalities, and then eventually there's probably like a call sign day.
Yeah.
Still, even on that day,
Charlie Dipshit Clawson.
dipshit, you got a mig on your tail. All right, so we all know kind of the plot of Top Gun. So
yeah, I believe Comedy Company parodied this with a hilarious sketch called Top Nun.
So let's have a look at Top Gun 2. He's got a need for speed again.
That's not the real tagline.
No, but that's not bad.
Okay.
Not bad from Brody Carmody in the Sydney Morning Herald. Tom Cruise has finally confirmed that a sequel to the cult action film...
Cult?
Cult?
It's a huge hit.
Mate, what's your fucking definition of cult? You work for a Fairfax newspaper and you're... Or is it more like, as opposed to his other cult that he's associated with Scientology? A sequel to...
Cult movie actor. Yeah, right. That makes sense.
As in, he's in a cult. Action film Top Gun is in the works. In the works, Charlie. Rumours have been swirling for years that Cruise would revisit the movie that turned him into a household name. Last year, the film's original producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, drove fans wild after tweeting a photo of himself and Cruise, hinting that they met up to discuss a Top Gun sequel.
Do I have a link to that?
No.
Tweet? No.
On Tuesday morning, Cruise finally confirmed that the rumours were indeed true. Speaking on Channel 7's Sunrise, the Hollywood heartthrob said principal photography should start within the next 12 months.
Holy shit.
Okay. It is true, he said. I'm going to start filming it probably in the next year. It's definitely happening. Wow.
Cruise was then interrupted by Sam Mack on guitar.
And the cash cow, who asked him for some more money. So I guess, So
I could be excited for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't...
Because that's what they got to do, right? Because it's so long ago that they have to be grown-up characters now. And doesn't it have to be a twist on the original where, like... Well, I mean,
we're assuming it's a sequel 30 years later. It's not like...
It'd be great if they said it like a week later.
Well, this is...
And made all the actors still play those characters.
Well, it's the thing about, like, why I think the Ghostbusters film was so confusing is this a reboot? Is this a sequel? Why are the original... Like, I understand you can have nods and stuff to, like, okay, well, this is the original series actors or whatever. But don't confuse us. What is this? Like, let us know. So I think if they make this a straight up 30-year sequel and not like, this is a modern reboot where Tom Cruise is playing a different character, don't do that.
No. Oh, no, don't do that.
But we don't know. Maybe they will.
Oh, no, they're not going to do it. It's a sequel. They're going to make a sequel.
Well, when you heard they were making a Ghostbusters film, did you think it'd be
but
as
it wasn't like
confusing
Ghostbusters 3 or Ghostbusters 4 or whatever. Like, I mean, they made two in the original, right?
So they're saying this is Top Gun 2, not Top Gun rebooted.
No, it's
Top Gun takes flight.
Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee that will be the colon after the colon.
Or it might just be Top Gun Need for Speed.
Yeah. Don't, though.
Top Gun.
Wasn't that Speed
Maverick's
2?
back.
Speed 2? No, that's Cruise Control. Oh, well, that works. Thanks, Speed 2. You're good for something.
Top Gun.
Cruise Control. We're not even... Top Gun. We're not even trying.
Yeah, so, I mean... I imagine that's what they got to do, right? They've got to have some emergency that the young people can't solve, and Maverick and Iceman have to get back in the game.
So I assume the guys who, now that they've announced Top Gun 2, I assume we'll be getting a new Hot Shots film as well.
I hope so, right?
Charlie Sheen's coming out of retirement.
Charlie Sheen made an announcement on the Today Show on Tuesday morning that he was making a Hot Shots Part 2.
I would be more excited to see that than Top Gun 2.
What's Charlie Sheen up to now? Like after it went really terrible. Is he? What's going on with him now?
I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I mean, he's ill, right? He's got HIV, yeah, and obviously he had a whole bunch of problems with drugs and stuff like that. Let's see what's going on.
He tweets a bit still.
I was about oh
God, Hot Shots is happening.
Charlie, this is the headline from 10 hours ago. Charlie. We have some late-breaking Charlie Sheen news. I believe this might be another bombshell. From TMZ.com, so the most reputable site on the internet.
We harass people on the way to their car.
Charlie Sheen says Major League 3 could happen.
Right.
So,
I wasn't aware there was a Major League 2.
yeah. I've seen Major League 2. I thought there was actually already a Major League 3 that he wasn't in. Is there any chance that they made another movie that he wasn't in and he just doesn't know it existed because he wasn't in it?
Now, I'm not really au fait with Major League. I'm aware of it because I worked at a video store and I knew it was very popular. But is it actually good? I mean, it's not like considered a classic or anything.
I think that the first one is very entertaining. I was in Cleveland. It's set in Cleveland, and I was in Cleveland watching it one day when I was at the gym, and I was on the walking machine. And I thought, I'll just watch. This rather than me going outside in Cleveland where it's really snowy and cold. I'm just going to stay in this warm gym on a walking machine and watch Major League. But now the first one's pretty entertaining. Like it's a pretty. I mean, it's not.
Remind me of the plot again. And so it's like, who's the protagonist? Charlie Sheen. He's Wild Thing.
Yeah, he's Wild Thing.
Is it? So it's about him?
Well, it's him and the older guy. What's his name? Like
Scott Bakula.
One of those great. No, not Scott Bakula.
Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger. Yeah. That's right. And so and then there's Corbin Burnson.
Yeah,
in it.
Yeah.
He's
from LA
fucking
Law.
around on his wife.
Right.
And then there's the big guy who is superstitious, who's into voodoo.
Wesley Snipes.
And Wesley Snipes is the base runner, the really fast running guy. All right, let's fucking look it up. We've got time. That'll be all right. Let's look up Major League. By the way, the movie I was thinking of was called Major League Back to the Minors. Which is the third in the Major League series, but it's
direct-to-video.
Direct-to-video.
None of the major stars.
It doesn't count as canon.
Yeah.
Major League 3 could still be possible. Let's go to Major League. So Major League. And I'll give you a plot here. Former Las Vegas showgirl Rachel Phelps inherits the Cleveland Indians baseball team from her deceased husband. So she's a former showgirl. Her husband dies. She gets the baseball team, right? Phelps receives a lucrative deal to move the team to Miami. So this is your kind of plot that's going on. They're going
to shut down the kids' gym or whatever.
Yeah, but they have to trigger the escape clause in the team's contract with the city of Cleveland. So to do this, she's got to get the attendance of the games to fall below a certain level.
Right.
So that's the idea, right? She's going to get the worst.
She wants them to suck.
Yeah, she decides to replace existing players with aging veterans and inexperienced rookies.
Would you say a ragtag bunch of misfits?
In the hope that a bad team will cause attendance to decline. Phelps hires Lou Brown, a former coach from the Toledo Mudhens, to manage them.
Who's that played by?
We'll get to that. During spring training in Tucson, Brown and veteran catcher Jake Taylor discover the new team has interpersonal issues, as well as their own struggles with the game. Problems include prima donna third baseman Roger Dawn. So that's Corbin Burnson.
Oh, okay, right.
The weakening arm of veteran pitcher Eddie Harris. I can't remember who he was played by.
Ed Harris, funnily enough.
Ed Harris. Yeah, played by Ed Harris. Taylor's knee issues. That's Berenger. He's got the knee issues. He's the catcher, but his knees are given out on him.
Yeah.
The inability of outfielder Pedro Serrano to hit curveballs.
Superstitious guy.
He's the superstitious guys. And Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn's dangerous lack of pitching control.
Right, because he's got a super arm, but he can't direct it. It's a bit of a rip-off of Tim Robbins in Bull Durham.
Basically, right? Yeah. The team starts the season on a losing streak, and Brown is about to demote Vaughn to the minors until he accidentally discovers that Vaughn cannot see.
Ah, that's right. He gets glasses.
Right? Because he's this cool-looking guy, but he has to wear the glasses. After being fitted with glasses, Vaughn's performance improves and the team begins to win. Taylor discovers that his ex-girlfriend Lynn is living in Cleveland and tries to reconcile with her despite her being engaged to marry another man. So that's kind of your other subplot. Phelps, angered by the team's improvement, tries to demoralize them by removing team amenities. She replaces their chartered team jet with a rickety propeller plane, refuses to fix their workout equipment, even has the hot water to the locker room turned off. Despite her efforts, the team continues to win and bring themselves into contention for the division championships. The team VP, Charlie Donovan, visits Brown and informs him of Phelps' plan to make the team lose. He tells Brown that no matter how well they do, they'll be fired or released after the season. Brown holds a team meeting and lets the players know of Phelps' plan. Taylor speaks up and encourages the team to win the title anyway.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little through it. And Brown comes up with a way to motivate them into winning enough games to capture the title. The team succeeds in tying the division with the New York Yankees, leading to a one-game playoff to determine the champions. In the playoff game in Cleveland, the Yankees take an early lead, but Serrano is able to overcome his inability to hit a curveball and hits a home run to tie the game. In the top of the ninth, with the bases loaded, Vaughn manages to strike out the Yankees' best hitter and preserve the tie. And with the game tied and the Indians with 2 outs, Willie Mays Hayes, that's Wesley Snipes, manages a single to get on base. He then steals second base while Taylor is batting, leading Taylor to suggest a trick play.
Oh, that's here we go. A trick play.
Yeah, he does the duck thing where they all fly together. Oh, no, hang on. Wrong movie.
Wrong inspirational sports film.
Taylor steps in to bat and points to the outfield to call his shot like Babe Ruth.
Yeah, right. So they set up for that.
Yeah. Yankees picture the Duke brushes Taylor off home plate by intentionally throwing at his head, but a stubborn Taylor gets back up and again points to the outfield. With the Yankees prepare for the long play, Taylor instead bunts, allowing Hayes to make it home safely and win the game. As the team celebrates, Taylor spots Lynn in the stands and no longer wearing her engagement ring. This is one of those movies where everything turns out fine for everyone. The two rush to hug each other as the city celebrates the victory.
Who's playing that guy? Who's the lead guy? Who's
Berenger.
Oh, that's Tom Berenger.
Yeah,
right,
Tom Berenger. Yeah, Tom Berenger.
So he does the bunt. He now enables Wesley Snipes to steal home.
Right.
And then he sees his wife.
Yeah.
Ex-wife.
His ex-wife.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is, I've got to say, that's a pretty good plot. I was quite engaged.
It's a very
the whole way.
simple plot to hang a whole bunch of kind of funny jokes and bits and scenes around, I think.
But are there funny scenes? Like, are there kind of classic bits?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
When I think of it, all I think of is they chant Wild Thing when
Face
goes up
when
to
he
the
goes
pitch.
out, like when he goes to pitch, and there's like you see like there's some montages of everyone around town singing his
And
praises.
don't they try and
Wesley Snipes is kind of funny. He's like fast talking, and all the little bits about they get him a bucket of chicken for his voodoo, and all those sort of things.
I seem to recall. Do they motivate the team by having a cardboard cutout of the woman who owns the team and she's in her underwear or something?
Yeah, look, I mean, it might not all hold up to the bechamel test. No, what's that called? Not the bechamel. The bechamel test, which is, can you make a delicious sauce to go with your cauliflower? Oh, no, it failed the bechamel test, but it did really well in the bechamel test because all those naked women who didn't have any plot points were covered in sauce.
Yeah, all right. I might actually watch that.
Yeah.
It feels like, so it's 80s, right? Like 89, 88?
1989. Yeah, well done. And
fuck, how did I know that? For someone who doesn't even know the film, the people who were in it, that's how I zoned in on what era it was from.
Okay, Major League 2. Let's have a look at what the plot of Major League 2
What's the sub heading? Major League 2, Back to the Minors?
No, it doesn't.
No, that was the third one.
That's good, though.
No, that's because you already told me that.
Yeah, I know, but it's good. What I'm saying is, when you hear it, you do go, oh, that's good. No, that's good, yeah. Major League 2, a 1994 sequel to the original.
Oh, they waited a long time.
Well, they wanted to get the script right, Charlie.
Yeah,
they didn't just want to rush in off the heat of Major League. In the previous season, the Cleveland Indians won the
5
division.
years just to fucking locate Charlie Sheen.
That's why. They were ready to go.
They're ready to go straight
They actually had
away.
it pre-written. I meant to actually be shooting both at once. Back to the Future stuff. In the previous season, the Cleveland Indians won the division title by beating the New York Yankees, right? So that's one season ago. But were defeated in the ALCS by the Chicago White Sox.
So that's where this picks up.
Yeah.
Okay.
The success of last season has changed the attitudes of the Indians. Pitching sensation Rick, it seems like Rick Wild Thing, much like Ricky Ponting went from Ricky to Rick. Rick Wild Thing Vaughn has become a media sensation and such is now more concerned about his public image than his pitching. Well, this happens. That's a good like real life story to reflect, causing him to lose the edge on his fastball. Instead, he begins to rely on highly ineffective breaking balls, to which he gives nicknames such as Illuminator and Humiliator. So he's coming up with these new pitches, but they're not.
Yeah, he's covering the cracks.
He's covering the cracks. Home run hitter Pedro Serrano becomes a Buddhist.
Taking the joke, spinning it for the sequel. He was in the voodoo in the first one, right?
Yeah. This is your version of like your Groot becoming Baby Groot.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same joke, but they've twisted it enough that you can find it delightful again.
Yeah.
I like this. This is like a good comedy, play. Well done. These are good ingredients.
Yeah.
If I was in the pitch meeting, I'd be like, take my money. All right. He has a more...
Will Anderson Studios went bankrupt today.
Again. adopts a more placid, carefree style as opposed to the angry and aggressive player he was before. Centre fielder Willie Mays Hayes is still as fast as ever, but is more concerned with hitting home runs and his movie career, which saw him star in an action film that was a flop and resulted in him spraining his knee. So
Is this based on Wesley Snipes' real life?
And
or?
also he's in jail for not doing his taxes. Aging catcher Jake Taylor has also returned, and conceited third baseman Roger Dawn has retired and purchased the team. So that's how you get Corbin back.
Yeah.
He's now the owner of the team.
And good, because then you change the dynamic.
Right, and you need a new owner.
Yeah.
One of his first acts as owner is to sign Oakland A's all-star catcher Jack Parkman, which forces Jake to compete for his old position.
Right.
Jake against Jack.
Hang on, Jake is Jake Taylor.
Yeah, Jake's the old Tom
Catcher,
Berenger, the catcher,
Yeah.
who was almost done,
Yeah.
but they've won the title.
Dodgy knee.
He's got dodgy knees, and now they've got this new star in town. How's that going to play out? That's a good dynamic as well, right?
That's good.
It's the guy who's coming in to
Old cop,
replace him.
Young line, old line.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. Does he teach him or does he compete with it?
Oh, yeah, he's going to compete with it.
Right. So he competes. Jack Parkman is an arrogant jerk who thinks his team is a joke. To further complicate things, minor league catcher Rube Baker has also been invited to camp despite his inability to throw the ball back to the pitcher with any consistency. Oh, okay. So there's two catchers. There's the all-star catcher who hates the team.
Yeah.
And there's this Rube. His
Yeah.
name is actual Rube,
Yeah.
but he's also a Rube.
Yeah. Who can't throw.
Who's it going to be? That's a good see. There you go.
Yeah.
You're setting that up. A guy that you're going to hate versus a guy you can root for. I like this. This is good ingredients. As the team breaks camp, Taylor discovers that although he made the team, he believes there's no way that manager Lou Brown is going to carry three catchers, as Parkman and Rube have also made the team. Right. Lou, after being confronted by Jake, informs Taylor he's not going to carry him as a player, but as a coach.
Oh!
While initially upset about being forced into retirement, and with the small amount of job offers he gets, Jake elects to take Lou's offer and join so a bit begrudgingly, but he joins the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Once again, the Indians start slow.
Sorry, can I just say, I'm
Go on.
surprised that they didn't just start the film with him as coach. Like, I understand that you have to build this tension in between, like, the Rube and the All-Star, but you could have done that all well and good with having been the coach. To me, just from a writing point of view, it feels like unnecessary plotting. You could have come into the story a lot later.
Yeah, I get that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, anyway.
But maybe they needed a little bit of set up for each of the characters. They had to show Willie Mays Hayes doing his Hollywood
And I guess
thing.
you got to sweeten the audience by going,
Right.
hey, look, it's everyone you remember doing the jobs you remember.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's going to change.
Now it's going to change. Yeah, remember when he was like really crazy about one religion? He's really crazy about another religion. Okay, you're up to date. All right, so here we go. Once again, the Indians start slow, as Serrano's religious conversion causes him to struggle. The Buddhism's not helping him.
Right.
Hayes refuses.
He wouldn't have a problem with the losses, though, because there'd be no attachment.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care about it.
Yeah.
Hayes refuses to play with even the slightest injury. Vaughn's control problems continue to plague him, and Parkman's ego poisons the clubhouse.
Right.
To make matters worse, Dawn has been unable to keep up with the franchise's finances and is forced to do strange things.
Who's fucking Dawn?
Dawn, Corbin Burnson.
Oh, right.
Like, he's bought the team, but he's spent all his money buying the team, and now he can't afford to actually run the team, right?
Yeah, no.
So he's had to do strange things to bring in money,
Like what?
such as covering the
Blow and
outfield
do-
walls with advertising.
Right, sorry. I just thought he was like
Give
offering
hand jobs
blowjobs
to
out in the dugout. It's like, have you gone to see the, what are they called, the team?
The Cleveland Indians.
Have you gone to see the Cleveland
their team owner blows guys at
Seriously,
third base.
It's like $15.
If you
You can talk him down to 12. That's the weird part. Like, it's already cheap, and he'll take it. He'll take the lowest offer you give.
He does it at the seventh inning stretch while people sing "Take Me Back to the Ball Game." It's good though. It's fun.
Yeah.
So eventually, Lou reaches the end of his tolerance regarding Parkman and decides to suspend him after Parkman criticises the team in the local papers. So the new catcher doesn't like the team.
Yeah.
Parkman then informs Lou the suspension is moot as he's been traded to the White Sox, their enemy, the people who. So now he's going to go and play for the enemy.
Yeah, right.
Lou confronts Dawn for not consulting him about the trade. Dawn explains he could no longer afford to pay Parkman.
Him, right. Okay.
In return, Japanese import Isuru Kamikaze Tanaka,
Yeah, I like it.
a gifted left fielder with a penchant for crashing into the fence, is sent to the Indians.
What?
So,
Why? When he's fielding.
Yeah, when he's fielding, like he's just, they call him kamikaze
Because he throws himself about with no regard for his own safety.
Yeah, and so like he'll get the catch, but he'll smash into the field.
Bit insensitive calling someone kamikaze.
I don't think it's a really positive racial portrayal. I feel like as a Japanese person, you might not think it was the most sensitive portrayal.
Nah.
A sympathetic
Heinrich Nazi Guggenheim.
I mean, I think it's a sympathetic but very comical portrayal of what a Japanese baseball.
Oh, I imagine in 1994 it was very incredibly culturally
fish
sensitive.
out of water. Finally, out of options, Dawn sells the Indians back to Rachel Phelps.
Right, she's back.
Rachel keeps Dawn on as the Indians' general manager.
And to blow guys in the dugout.
Because he's bringing in a lot of money. And his first order of business is to reactivate himself as a player.
Oh, my God.
I'd forgotten
That's where
about
it
that.
jumped the shark.
I'd forgotten about that. Oh, yes.
Can you
Back in the game.
you imagine?
Everyone's back. Hey, you know how you thought everything had changed? Everyone's back.
Everyone's
it's okay,
back.
guys.
Yeah.
Everyone's back. Rachel doesn't need the money. She has more than enough. She bought the team back as revenge for ruining her plan to move the team to Miami. And now, since this team is in last place, she has another chance to bring it back and watch them go down in flames.
Oh, no. They ran out of ideas. They were going into brave territory. Then they lost their nerve.
And then they said, let's just go back to the exact same idea.
That's weird, right?
Lou suffers a heart attack in the clubhouse due to his frustration over the team's performance. So they kill him. Right. They kill their coach, basically. They literally kill their coach through not trying hard enough. And Jake is given the reins of the team.
Jake.
The catcher.
Jake? That everyone hates.
No. That's Jack.
Oh.
Well, I can't remember. No, I think...
Which one was Lou? Tom Berenger? I thought Lou was Tom Berenger.
No, there was like a manager, and then there was Tom Berenger, the catcher. Anyway.
Okay, so Tom Berenger becomes coach.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Well, maybe I think so.
Okay.
Things come to a head during a doubleheader against the Boston Red Sox. Rube is hit by a pitch in his ankle, and Hayes is called upon to run for him. Hayes refuses to do it, which angers Jake. Vaughn chimes in, which causes Hayes to bring up his own struggles, and the two begin fighting. Soon, the entire team gets involved and begin fighting each other, resulting in everyone being ejected.
Ah, right.
After the game, Tanaka criticizes Serrano for not having any marbles due to his struggles. Again, not a really sensitive portrayal of mental health struggles. And Hayes makes a wisecrack at Baker about his injury, while Rube chastises Hayes and the rest of the team for their lack of passion. Inspired by the speech, Hayes volunteers to run for the injured Baker in the bottom of the ninth inning in the second game and promptly steals second, third, and home to tie the score.
It's pretty much what happened in the first one.
Serrano, also inspired, demands that Jake insert him into the game to pinch hit, and he responds by hitting the game-winning home run. The win sparks a hot streak that the Indians ride all the way to a second straight division title, clinched by beating the Toronto Blue Jays on the last day of the season, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's where we got to in the last movie, though, right? So this is where they then go into kind of new territory again.
Okay.
Despite the team's hot streak, Vaughn continues to slump as his ineffective breaking pitches have caused him to lose confidence, and his best pitch, his fastball. To make matters worse, he refuses to finish games he starts and has allowed the fans to get into his head.
Also, he snorts up the lines on the field.
Also, the actor playing him did not turn up to a lot of days of shooting, and we really had to rework around that. In the ALCS, the Indians square off in a rematch with the White Sox and win the first 3 games of the series. This inspires Rachel to give the team a phony pep talk before Game 4, which is purposely designed to get in the heads of the players and distract them. It works. A still struggling Vaughn gives up a game-winning home run to Parkman in the bottom of the ninth. The White Sox then defeat the Indians in the next 2 games, forcing a 7th game in Cleveland. The night before the game. There's a lot of detail, by the way, for Major League 2. Much more than there was for Major League. One. They kept it simple in Major League. They may have overcomplicated it in this one.
Well, the weird thing is, they started by having all the change happen.
Yep.
Then they flip back to the ordinary world. It's kind of like reverse of how most stories go.
Well, let's... okay.
They put the change at the start.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. The night before the game, Jake goes to visit Vaughn at his home and tells him he might be called on a pitch in Game 7. Vaughn nonchalantly tells Taylor he'll be ready, which infuriates Jake to the point where he lashes out at Vaughn. He calls Vaughn out for having lost his edge and not having his head in the game and tells him he's of no use to the team if he continues playing the way he is. Before Taylor leaves, he tells Vaughn to find his edge if it's not already escaped him. The White Sox jump out to an early 2-1 lead in Game 7 after Parkman bowls over Rube on a play at the plate, taunting him as he struggles to get up. When the Indians are down by 1, Hayes reaches base on walk and taunts Parkman by telling him he's going to score on the play without sliding. Rube then line drives to the left field corner and Hayes rounds the bases and heads for home. The ball gets to Parkman first, but Hayes, making good on his promise not to slide, hurdles over Parkman and lands on the home plate. Parkman responds, however, by hitting a 3-run homer in the 7th inning, and the White Sox take a 5-3 lead into the bottom of the 8th. Although the Indians get a runner on 2 quick outs are recorded and Jake is forced to make a strategic move he tried to avoid the whole season. Although Dawn is still on the active roster up until this point, Jake refuses to put him into a game and even mocks him for signing himself.
Yep, I agree with both those.
The pitcher on the mound for the White Sox has had great success against Dawn in his career, but always pitched him inside. Based on that, Jake sends Dawn to pinch hit and take one for the team so the tying run can get on base.
So it's similar to the bunt last year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Jake's tactical nous is fairly predictable.
But basically he's just saying, hey, unsympathetic character, could you please cop a ball now? Dawn takes a pitch in the back and is pulled for a pinch runner, eventually being forced to the bench despite his best efforts to stay in. Serrano steps in, having apparently reverted to his more placid self. He greets Parkman, who reminds him that his team is still losing the game. After taking 2 pitches and being impressed by them, Serrano's teammates begin shaking little bags of marbles at him.
Okay, is this a Buddhist thing?
No, that was because Kamikaze told him that he'd lost his marbles.
Oh, that's not going to help. That's all right.
The Cuban slugger, amazingly, is able to find a balance between the calmer and the more angry sides of him.
Oh, he's yin and yang?
And drills the next pitch over the fence to give the Indians a 6-5 lead. As he steps on home plate, Serrano emphatically tells Parkman, "Look at the scoreboard now, grasshopper."
I thought you were going to say motherfucker, but grasshopper makes a lot more sense.
Grass motherfucker hopper. The game is not over yet. The go-ahead runs reach base with 2 outs at the top of the 9th. Jake calls on Vaughn to get the final out, and to everyone's amazement, Vaughn takes Jake's message to heart and as apparently rediscovers his edge. Well, to everyone's surprise, but people who've watched the movie before, or the first movie. To further this, he tells Jake that he does not want to pitch to the batter he was called upon to face. Instead, he wants another shot at Parkman,
Parkman's fucking copping it.
Yeah, who was on deck. Jake cannot believe what Vaughn is suggesting, as an intentional walk will load the bases. So Parkman's up next, and this is Jake's coaching move, and this is like, no, walk it so the bases are loaded, and then pitch to the guy who has constantly smashed you out of the park. I mean, it's
bold.
It's a bold move when it comes off. But if it doesn't come off, that's a tough week at the office, you'd imagine, the next week, right? Vaughn states again that he wants to face his old nemesis one more time. Convinced, Jake hands Vaughn the ball, walks the batter ahead of Parkman to bring him to the plate with a chance to drive. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Vaughn throws a fastball that Parkman swings through for strike 1, then follows with another fastball that Parkman fouls straight back. With 2 strikes on him, an impressed Parkman dares Vaughn to throw it a 3rd time. Vaughn fearlessly complies, telling them that if he gets a piece of it...
wild thing, yeah.
Vaughn tells him if he gets a piece of it, he can rename it. While Rube attempts to get back at Parkman and taunt him in the same way he'd been taunted earlier, Vaughn delivers one more fastball and Parkman swings through it, striking out to end the game and send the Indians to the World Series.
Wow.
Phelps' plan to get rid of the players and moves the team to Miami fails once again.
Yeah, Phelps really doesn't have much to do in this film. Comes in to say, I hope you guys fail, and then, you guys didn't fail.
The only reason she came back was to get Corbin Burnson back in the game.
Who played Parkman? Who was because that's an unrepentant douche character, the likes of which we haven't seen since William Atherton, who played Walter Peck in Ghostbusters.
I'll run you through the cast.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen as Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn.
Yeah.
Tom Berenger as Jake Taylor. Corbin Burnson as Roger Dawn. Dennis Haysbert as Pedro Serrano.
Dennis Haysbert is that guy from all those cop shows, right? Oh, he plays a president. It's
yeah.
kind of, I can't believe it's not Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, he was the president from 24.
I knew it.
I you know what? I had forgotten that it was him. So the president from 24 is Serrano. Okay, nice. And the voice of those Geico or whatever commercials they are in America.
Right.
The voice of insurance in America. James Gammon as Lou Brown. Omar Epps as Willie Mays Hayes.
Oh, they replaced him.
Willie, that's right.
Oh.
Wesley Snipes did not come back for the sequel. I forgot about that. David Keith as Jack Parkman.
David Keith. Yeah, he's not really like a classic douchebag actor from that era, but yeah.
Okay,
I know David Keith.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so there you go. And here's one that I had forgotten who was in this film.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Renee Russo played Lynn
yeah,
Wells.
right.
Yeah, Renee Russo was the love interest. Also starring Jay Leno as himself, Randy Quaid as an extremely loyal fan, and Jesse Ventura as himself.
Stars aplenty.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, we should finish up. We have a Patreon page.
Patreon.com/TOFOP. It's basically an ongoing Kickstarter where you can support the show by donating an amount that will be subtracted from your credit card or your bank account monthly. Any amount you want to donate, from $1 up to, Will.
The domestic gross box office of the film Major League, $50 million.
Yeah. We'll take up to 55.
Yeah.
We'll just give ourselves a little wriggle room.
Yeah, well, that's adjusted. Adjusted for time. Yeah.
We have a Facebook page.
Yes.
We have a Twitter account at TOFOP. What else do we have? We have an Instagram account, but I don't think we've updated that in a long time. But
We have a football podcast. It's called Two Guys, One Cup, an AFL podcast, and it has its own Facebook page now. So you'll be seeing less AFL stuff on the TOFOP page for those who don't enjoy that. There's a whole page for the AFL page now.
Oh, and we should also say we've been plugging our mate's show, Am I Funny?
Yeah.
Leon Surgeon.
Different every week.
He is doing his stand-up gig this Monday, the 29th. If you're
This
in Sydney,
Monday?
Yeah, I'm pretty... Is that...
Yeah.
Monday's the 29th.
It will
yeah.
be. It'll be if you're listening to this the day it comes out, it'll be the next day.
At the Lounge in Surrey Hills. Have you performed comedy there?
I have. That's not a bad little... That's a good place to do your first ever comedy gig. I must admit that I spoke to Leon this week.
I heard the episode.
Because he had a bit of material that was obviously... everybody knows about the tragedy that happened in Manchester, and he had a piece that was nothing about that, but would have been certainly sounded like it was referencing and about that. So when I spoke to him during the week, I didn't realize how close he was to the gig. That leaving out that bit of material would be a substantial part of what he was planning to do. So definitely listen to the podcast. It's a really easy and simple one to listen to. They're not really long
20-minute episodes.
And it really moves along. It's a really great story. And I think it'd be really fun, particularly if you live in Sydney, listen to the episodes and go down and see the gig. I think it'd be a really fun thing to be part of.
Yeah, so the Lounge, that's what it's called, right? The Lounge? The Lounge in Surrey Hills, Monday night. I'm not sure what time, but if you go to Leon, if you go to the Am I Funny Twitter account or Instagram or whatever, there's all the details there.
There you go. All right.
Are we done?
I think so, right?
Yeah, well, I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
You sounded confused.
Oh, I should. That's why we're finished. But
Yeah.
I should plug. I'm going to Montreal. I'm doing my show
right.
Critically Will in Montreal. If anyone's still listening after we've done the sign off, I'm also going to be in Wagga, Belmont, Nelson Bay, some other dates, comedy.com.au, and look up those dates. But Montreal, 6 shows at the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival. Critically Will, and tell people or come or. Look, it's a lot of shows in a place where I don't have that much audience. So anything you can do to help. Is this sounding desperate?
It is.
Anyone,
It sounded like you're begging for tickets.
Please come. Or just get people to come. Pay people to come to my show. Call in all your favours.